The fact that I talk a lot about Shiba Inu and ADA, two currencies that aren't even in the same region but have very distinct applications, may seem a little strange to people who are just starting out with the channel. This is due to the fact that their fundamentals are somewhat comparable to one another. The most fundamental aspects are that they are becoming more powerful and that supply is being removed from the markets presently. To tell you the truth, both of them are well on their way to experiencing a shockingly large supply. The charts are doing some of the same things as before, but they are also doing other things that are a little bit different from what we expected them to do. As an illustration, when we take a look at Shiba Inu, we made a significant move the day before that people need to be aware of. You are now entering the channel. This is Luckside, my name. If this is your first time joining, or if you haven't done so already, click the button below. You are free to ring the bell once again at any time. There will be a notification sent to you every time there is a new live video on the channel. It is becoming increasingly obvious to me that these films are lasting longer and longer. It is my intention to keep them brief for your benefit. We need to discuss a great deal of different topics. I've read a lot of notes that say, Shib's not being strong right now. It's sort of hilarious to watch what Shiba Inu is doing now, because I've seen a lot of notes that say similar things, indicating that it is not strong. During the course of the day, I've overheard individuals talking about drops like this and saying things like, yep, right there, it's going down. However, they are oblivious to the fact that Shib is making significant progress in the ascent. On top of that, this has been going on for quite some time, you know. It is a fact that this has been going on since approximately the 5th of August. In comparison to the other assets, Shib has produced one of the most consistent and favorable returns. I think that a lot of people fail to notice that. It is too many people's desire for Shib to simply make these massive motions that last 10 times longer. On the other hand, you should be aware that it is very simple to lose after making a move that is 10 times larger. Because there isn't a lot of liquidity, and you haven't found any support levels yet, you will probably experience a rather significant decline if you run 10x in only a couple of days. Additionally, you won't find any support levels yet. When you reach that point, you will begin your search for them. Throughout this entire process, we have witnessed Shiba Inu's strength filling in time and time again. We are currently witnessing a shift in the pressure, which has shifted from what it was before to August, to a tremendous push to purchase Shiba Inu. It is the same issue that Shiba Inu is witnessing that I discussed earlier today in relation to the ADA. Consequently, we take into consideration things such as this 24-hour trade volume. It is quite evident that it is more supportive of the buy side. Over the course of the past hour, the purchase side has been more dominant. At this point, it is very evident that these short-term partnerships will be terminated. Quite a few items appear to have been purchased at this location just now. Due to this particular cause, Shib is exhibiting some degree of movement within this candle. Considering that everything she has done in the past 24 hours has been in this shape, this rising triangle, it is not that big of an issue what she has done. At the moment, we noticed a slight increase in the amount of anything. Since March, we have now achieved the greatest level in the cycle that we have ever reached. All right. Instead of doing it just once, it did twice yesterday. Consequently, this indicates that SHIB is currently in a very good position. There are indications that point to the fact that it is eager to break forth. In addition, I mentioned earlier today in my ADA video that today is a day with a very low volume of activity. All right. Examine the activities that are available on the weekends. The quantity of products that they bring is much lower. It's not a particularly thrilling time. In no way is it about the numbers. It has nothing to do with the money that is held by institutions. In addition, I feel obligated to mention that from a structural standpoint, we are still waiting for this conclusive proof that demonstrates Bitcoin can be considered the leader. For those who are unaware, this is the primary indication that we are in the alt season. Back in this room, we discussed this piece of evidence. The only thing we've been doing since then is waiting for Bitcoin to fall through the floor. What exactly is the identical thing that occurs during each and every cycle? Because of this, Shiba Inu and a great number of other assets begin to run very hard, which causes fear of missing out, FOMO, to set in. And these runs continue to get greater and bigger, right? Except this is evidence, if you please. In the past, we discussed this dead cat bounce, but now it's moving on to other things. The only thing that remains to be determined is the day that it will end up falling through and providing the market with that significant boost. More quickly than the majority of people believe, it will take place. By the way, you should know that if Shib continues to push this notion, it is not only to draw lines or something like that, or that has been discussed in the past. That being said, regardless of where this is, we are discussing the possibility of taking a break at some point during this week. At this moment, for example, we discussed the possibility of ADA being available on Monday and Shib being available on Wednesday. At this point, we are considering possibly by Tuesday. You should know that this is not a promise. This is not financial guidance in any way. To clarify, in case you were unaware of it, as more time passes, the amount of pressure continues to increase. It is reasonable to assume that you will eventually be able to overcome this very small group of people who are resisting you. People need to be aware that this location does not have a significant amount of cash on hand. The majority of the opposition can be found between these two numbers and the ones that come after them, specifically between 3 and 7. This is the reason why I observed this 22% rise, which is now only approximately 15% away from a confirmation of the breakout. To put it simply, that is how close we are. This change has the potential to take place in a relatively short period of time. The thing that we witnessed the day before was almost like a sneak peek. Pepe did in fact begin to flee, as we witnessed. Throughout the area, we observed Joe coins beginning to function and performing quite admirably. Our initial thinking was perhaps this is the beginning of the meme season. Not at this time, however, we are getting very close to this. Additionally, when this truly begins to take off and people begin to become enthused about it, Shib will become independent and run away. All right. Where it comes to an end is the most significant thing. However, we are aware that the primary objective of this subsequent run is not only to break the cycle high, but also to begin going for levels that have not been seen since the peak of the previous market cycle. Right? We might stop for petrol somewhere in the middle of this run, but we are aware of this fact. In the event that you believe that it is impossible, that it will never happen again, or that we won't be able to accomplish it in the near future, then it will occur in that manner. A number of factors that are significant to the cost are finally beginning to interact with one another, and the results are enormous. At this very moment, Shiba Inu is displaying strength, and that strength is, in reality, strength. I'm not making this up. Are you aware that I am going to claim that we are about to blow, mostly due to the fact that this is something that we have already discussed?